All right, everyone. So I just wanted to make this video because, as some of you know, recently, based off of my story, I'm quoting somebody for a paver patio, and one of their requests or something that they were considering was going the stamped concrete route instead of a paver patio route. And that's something that I've dealt with in the past, and I always try and steer clients away from it because of the many disadvantages associated with stamped concrete, or just even concrete in general. And one of the things that I'll even start off with saying is that a pure slab of concrete, like a driveway or even a patio, and versus stamped concrete, there's no difference. The only difference is that when stamped concrete, when you go the stamped concrete route, the contractor will, at the end of the curing process, will place almost like a mat, I guess you could call it, that embeds into the top layer of concrete to give it like that paver patio look. But at the end of the day, that's pretty much the only difference between a slab and stamped concrete. Now, one of the things, so there's two things that I believe why clients tend to go more towards that route. And the number one and the easiest one is that stamped concrete costs a lot less. And I 100% understand that. I understand sometimes when people are budgeting for this stuff, they only have a certain amount that they can spend, and that's typically the route that they normally go with. Now, the other reason is that I think people have this misconception that if they do like a solid slab of concrete, then it's a lot stronger than a paver patio. And in my opinion, that can't be further from the truth. And I will also state too that the reason why I'm pushing for paver patios and why I try and steer my clients away from going the stamped concrete route is not to make me more money or to go with my company because I only offer paver patios. I just see so many disadvantages with going that stamped concrete route that I'm about to get into that is not going to get you the best return on your investment. And that's something that I take to heart with my company, is offering people, the best quality and getting them the best return on their investment. So what are the disadvantages of going the stamped concrete route? Well, number one, concrete, no matter if it's stamped or just a regular slab, it's always going to be prone to cracking. I actually have a client of mine who's a salesman for a restoration company, and he told me that anytime he goes out to meet a potential client, it's one of the talking points. And if they want to do concrete for anything, he makes it a point to let them know that they can't offer any warranty work associated with it, because concrete is prone to cracking. And to be honest with you, even with all of my clients that I cut lawns or do maintenance at, and I've seen their stamped concrete patios or whatever, I would say 75% of them already have stamped concrete patios that are already cracking. So this isn't just something that I made up. This is something that I see on a daily basis. So then you get into the question, which is, why is concrete so prone to cracking? Well, especially here in Michigan, what we get is what's called freeze-thaw cycles. So the soil still has moisture in it. So in the winter, when everything gets cold and temperatures start to drop, all that moisture that's still in the soil, it starts to freeze, which then expands the soil. And then in the summer, when everything starts to thaw out and starts to melt, then that causes the soil to then start to settle. And what contractors will typically do when they put in slabs or when they put in concrete is they'll put in control joints. So if you can envision just a square, regular size patio, what they'll do is they'll put a joint or a straight line straight in the middle going vertical, and then they'll put a straight joint or line going horizontal through that concrete slab. And that helps with, you know, preventing the concrete to crack, but you still have these 4 quadrants that are big pieces of concrete, right? So this is what I was talking about with these are called your control joints, right? So you still have these 4 big pieces of concrete in your patio. Now, as you can see from my dirty sticky note, that's being a landscaper, what causes the cracking? So if the soil under this quadrant starts to settle in this corner of the concrete right here, then what's going to happen is that if that soil starts to settle and all this over here is still unstable soil, then what's going to happen is that you're going to get a crack right there, or you might get a crack all the way through if this whole side starts to settle. So then you're left with this quadrant of the stamped concrete that is just basically completely ruined. And the only way to fix that is to rip out that entire quadrant and re-pour a whole new slab and completely redo it. And going back earlier to what I explained with how contractors who do concrete typically warranty, that's going to be out of your own pocket. So that goes back to even further in the video, is even though stamped concrete is a lot cheaper, you're still not able to have that peace of mind of knowing that if something were to happen to it, you're not paying out of pocket, right? So like for me, for instance, every time I install any hardscape projects, I offer a 5-year warranty. So whereas a stamped concrete, you're gonna have to pay out of pocket if anything happens to that. With me, the worst thing that happens is if a section of that patio starts to sink and settle, you just call me up, I come back out, I take out a few pavers, rebase it, and you're good to go. Patio's back to new. So while the initial investment is a lot more than a stamped concrete patio, at the end of the day, you have that peace of mind that you're never going to pay out of pocket for that patio. Also, in terms of like how paver patios affect the value of your home, I just heard a statistic today recently that, and this could be, again, it's I'm not a huge statistics guy, but on a $50,000 investment, right, for a paver patio, that increases your home's value up to $90,000, right? So you're almost doubling your investment. With a stamped concrete patio or any concrete work, you're basically going to flatline. So if you invest $50,000, that only increases the value of your home $50,000. So you're getting basically no return on your investment. And again, I don't know if that's 100% true, but at the end of the day, all I do know is that paver patios majority of the time are going to increase the value of your home more than what you initially paid for that paver patio. I will post another video explaining a little bit more in depth why paver patios are a lot more stronger. But until then, I hope you all are doing well, and I hope this helps.